Hare Krishna, dear devotees. It is immense pleasure for me to be here again with you this morning. So we have the great fortune to continue this small but special glorification of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnanam Jada Shadakaya Chakshurun Meditam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhuvya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauram Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine. So, did you know that we belong to Krishna? Did you know that? We belong to Krishna. Why?
Why?
Why do we belong to Krishna? I like to ask questions.
You interrogate.
Huh?
You like to interrogate?
Yes. I must have been an inspector in the past. Yeah. So we belong to Krishna. Why? Because Krishna, he sees already our eternity, and he sees the place that we have with him, the relationship that we have with him. So that's why naturally Krishna has a feeling of belonging and possessiveness towards us, because naturally we come from him, but also for eternity we are meant to be with him for eternity. And that's why Krishna is possessive. But unfortunately, because we don't have that feeling towards him, he cannot, although he feels we belong to him, he cannot express that to us. Why?
Because he is equal in the reciprocation to our desires. Yatamam
prapadyante. He cannot express it because we don't want to express it to him in that way. So Krishna reciprocate because we don't want to belong to him. We don't want him to belong to us. We don't want to be exclusive towards him. Then how can he reciprocate with that? And we spoke about that yesterday. So one thing we have to understand is we're exclusive to this world. No, that's true. Otherwise, we would not have been here for millions of lifetimes. We've been so much exclusive to the people of this world, to our relationships. But where did that exclusivity bring us? What did that give us?
Same word again.
Sorry?
Same word again and again.
Same word again and again.
Yeah.
If you think about that for a sec, and I'm not joking, we had millions of fathers, millions of mothers, of brothers, of sisters, of uncle, of friends, of husband and wife. So, I mean, where did that bring us finally? I mean, we don't remember all these relationships. So, actually, when we think about it for a sec, it's quite particular. I mean, Krishna patiently is waiting for us, and he's allowing us to have these different relationships over, all these different lifetimes. But what are we doing to reciprocate with him? One thing, okay, like why I'm explaining this is that we had so many mothers and fathers and sisters and friends, but did we ever, for one sec, did we ever meditate who is our true father? Who is our true mother? What is our true sister and brother? Who is our true grandmother? I mean, did we ever think about that? We were so enamored with all these different relationships that are temporary. Although we were completely attached to these relationships, what do you remember from your previous mother and father in your previous life? Do you remember anything from them? You were completely attached to them. You gave your whole life to them, to your husband and wife. What do you remember of them? Nothing. You don't remember nothing. And do you think this life will be different? Do you think when you will take birth, if you are to take birth in another form, in another human form in your next life, do you think you will remember your mother and father and sister and brother and husband and wife? What will you remember of them? In this life, you're so much attached to them, you will remember nothing of them in your next life. Nothing. This is the nature of relationships in this world. We've been so much attached to all these different people, but in this life, we don't remember nothing of them. So don't think your next life will be different from your previous and this one. It's just going to be the same. We have to listen to the words of the great personalities, like none other than Prahlad Maharaj. 5 years old, he tells you, we're already chewing what has already been chewed. We're already chewing. This is the reality. So that's why we should, what did Prabhupada say? You have given so many lifetimes to Maya. So many. Why don't you just give this one lifetime to Krishna? Just this one life. We're speaking about our eternity here. And we take it so cheaply. We put all our energy, all our heart, all our effort. We make all our sacrifices for something that finally will escape us at the time of death. We lose everything. That's not a joke. We just don't want to accept it because we're attached. Because we don't know any better. Because we don't know our true father and mother. We don't know our true family. We never thought about them, never realized who they are, and we keep going because of that. So today, if I can beg you from the deepest, innermost depths of my heart, if you can please today and for the rest of your life, meditate on your true family. and in your heart, cultivate the desire to be with them, to know who they are. I mean, like, did you ever thought that actually you have a family that is waiting for you in Vrindavan? Did you ever thought that your mother is waiting for you? Your father? I mean, I'm speaking about your family, but it's a big family in Braj. What about Radha and Krishna? Mother Yashoda? I tell in maybe next week, I'd like to share the story of Gopakumar. Yes, we'll share that story again because it's so beautiful. I, I like it so much I wanted to share it now, but I'll wait for another time. But yes, we have, that's not a joke. Our relationship with Radha and Krishna is a factual reality. And that's why we have to meditate about that. I mean, our true family is waiting for us, and why is it that we don't care about it? We care so much about our temporary family, but we don't care a cent about our true family. We never thought about them. In this life, have you ever thought in this life even one moment about your true mother? Did you ever think about that? So that's why. I mean, we have to understand what is the true value of our life. So that's why we should not make them wait any longer. They've waited for so long, just like, I'll say just that part of, I know, should I tell it? No, I'll wait. Because it's a beautiful part when Gopakumar meets Narayan. But yes, actually, yes, they are waiting for us and they are in separation from us. And we are not sensitive to that. It's so sad when you think about it. We're completely indifferent to our family. But they are patient. They're patient, and because anyway, they know our time in this material world is like that. It's just one blink of an eye, and that's true. So ultimately, we all will be joining our eternal family at some point in time. But why not doing it in this lifetime? Why not taking this opportunity anyway? Think about it. Do you think your next life will be any different? That your previous life was any different? No, it's just the same. We're just turning in a circle. But this is the power of the material energy. Daivi Eshagunama Imama Maya Duratya. This material energy is so strong that it makes us believe that our family here is our true family. This is our true world. This is my true identity. And this is my true place here. And we're ready, life after life to continue in this, running in a circle. That's what we're doing. It's like, it's so powerful that it makes us think that we still have something to do in this world. Although we have tried everything, there's nothing new. The real new thing is joining our eternal family. This is really new. This is the most special. So, yes, we should be starting to think about our family. Yes.
One question may be raised here, a concern that we also hear that we have to be a little bit we have a humble attitude, understand that where do we belong, in the sense that since we have covered with so much anarthas and so much contamination is there, is it even my adhikar to think in this manner, that there's a family waiting for me. Maybe I'm too far from that goal to even. It may be arrogant of me to think of that goal. How would you reply to that?
I will reply to Prabhupada's what he says. He says that Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. It is the natural disposition of the soul. And also in a class, when we're in Colombia, one devotee asked Maharaj, what about love? Is it a natural disposition in the soul? So love is there as a natural disposition in the soul, but it's just that it is dormant. So our rasa, the seed of our rasa, of a relationship with Radha and Krishna is there in the heart already. It is just dormant. And if there is one desire that is legitimate, fully legitimate for the soul, is to want to go back home, back to Godhead. So whatever anarthas we have, anyway, these are things that are covering the soul. But the desire of the soul to be with Radha and Krishna, to enter into the eternal lila, is a legitimate desire. And this we can cherish to the innermost depths of our heart, no matter what anarthas that we have. Because the soul is the soul, and just like Brahma says in the... my phone is there. Just like Brahma says in the 10th canto, chapter 14, verse 8, that one has to offer as obeisances to the Lord. And the translation is?
That one should very humbly tolerate all the difficulties coming in one's life, and with one's body, mind, and words offer obeisances. And such a person is the rightful inheritor of the complete mercy of the Lord.
Yes, it is a rightful claim. So it is all right to desire this, definitely. We don't feel qualified. That's all right. We understand that we're not qualified, that we're full of anarthas, but the desire to be with Radha and Krishna is a legitimate desire because we're the soul. So it is not a problem. But it is a problem to think that we're qualified if we're not. We don't feel qualified, and it is okay. We understand that we have limitations, that we're covered by all these different coverings. But to desire for our eternity is completely legitimate. Does that answer your question?
Yes. So although we're not qualified for that goal, but we're qualified to desire that.
Yes, exactly. It is a qualification because we are the soul.
We are soul.
Yes, it is completely legitimate. And that's why we should cherish, or if we don't feel we have that desire in our heart, then we should desire it. Yes. Beg, borrow, steal, but get that desire. Yeah, it's very important. If we don't have that prayojana in our heart, that desire, then where will our heart bring us? Although we're devotees. That's true. That's why we read. That's why I'm speaking about this. It's so important. If we don't have that prayojana, which means that ultimate goal in our heart, then what will be our goal in our life? We can practice devotional service for 40, 50 years, but if we don't have that goal to go back home, back to Godhead, Prabhupada did say that how many percentage of his disciples will go to the heavenly planets in their next life? He said more than 70%. Is that it? More than 70%. The desire, and Prabhupada reciprocates with that, but the desire was to go back to the heavenly planets in the next life, not to go back home, back to Godhead. But what did Prabhupada say in his magazine? Back to Godhead. Back to Godhead magazine. Why did he write that? No. It's because, like Maharaj was saying the other day, we should not think that Srila Prabhupada has any other desire. And that's why also it's legitimate for us because we want to reciprocate with Prabhupada's desire. Do you think it is not Prabhupada's desire that we go back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime? Do you think Prabhupada wants something else than this?
No.
So also this is another thing, is we want to reciprocate with Srila Prabhupada's desire. He wants us to develop love for Radha and Krishna. He wants us to go back home, back to Godhead. And it is legitimate for us to desire what Srila Prabhupada desires of us. So that is another thing also. You see? So that's why, yes, it is natural for us. What is unnatural?
Nothing unnatural in this.
Unnatural is that I want to lord over here.
Yeah. Sorry?
I want to lord over this material.
I want to lord over this material world.
Relationships in the material world.
Yes, exactly. That's why, you understand why exclusivity to Krishna is so important now? Why it is essential in our life? Because I will increase that. It's not only exclusivity to Krishna, but exclusivity to our original family, our eternal family. Exclusivity to Krishna's world. All religions, they have the same conclusions. We're in this world, but we're not of this world. So that exclusivity, the more we discover Krishna and his abode, the more exclusivity increases actually. We become very exclusive to Krishna, his family, his pastimes, his qualities, his world, his abode. Goloka Vrindavan, we become more and more exclusive to that. Because we realize that in this world, there's nothing that can compete to Krishna's reality. Why? Why nothing can compete to Krishna's reality in this world?
I mean, it is transcendental. It's not marred by any kind of contaminations.
Yes, plus Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this world is a reflection, a perfected reflection of my abode. So that's why also, understand? So, yes, we have this precious life that is, I mean, this precious inspiration, devotional inspiration that is being transmitted to us by Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual master. And it is the desire for us to go back home, back together in this lifetime. And it is possible to wait for other lifetimes, and that is all right. I mean, we have the right for that also. We have our willpower, and we can decide when we want to go. That's not a problem. Krishna respects that. But understanding that Krishna, Radharani, Srila Prabhupada, their pastimes, the cows, do you understand? There are cows there also. If you're a Gopad, and there's a, actually, we're explaining that. I mean, if you're a Gopad, then you take care of one of Krishna's cows. So there's one of Krishna's cows that you take care of for eternity. So that cow is waiting for you if you're a Gopad. But if you're a Gopi, Srimati Radharani and her maidservant, Rupa Manjari, she engages the new Manjaris in the service of Srimati Radharani. So she is waiting for you to be engaged in the service of Radharani. But if you're a calf and you're meant to be with Krishna in the pasturing grounds, so Krishna is waiting for you. You have a cow mother, a bull father. So, yeah, it's so beautiful. So that's why we have to. That's why it's so important to hear about Vrindavan. Because the more you hear, the more you become attracted, and the more you see yourself there, the more you realize, you feel, and you accept in your heart that your place is there, that your true place is there. Because our factual reality is a relationship with Radha and Krishna. So, yeah, we should take that seriously. It's something that is very precious. And the only reason why we don't run towards our eternity is because we think that there's something more important than this, more precious, more valuable than being with Radha and Krishna and being part of their eternal leelas for eternity. We think there's something better than this. Otherwise, we will cry when we chant. We will be so much eager to be with Radha and Krishna. And this will be the supreme goal of our life. And then we will become serious in our spiritual life. Otherwise, we just, yes, we make it cheap because we don't see the value in it. I was speaking to another devotee. I was saying, gratifying our senses in this world is so cheap. We're following regulative principles, but in 5 minutes, you could break all regulative principles just in 5 minutes. See how cheap it is, how accessible. The cheapest, or you would say the lowest thing is the cheapest, the most accessible, the most easy to accomplish. But is it easy to get prema? Love of God. Is it a cheap thing? No. Sudurlabha, very rare to obtain, because it's the most precious thing. So we can see actually gratifying our senses in this world is so cheap, so easy. And we can see just by engaging our senses in this world. So I don't mean that we cannot engage our senses, but we have to do it with Radha and Krishna. It's not that we don't enjoy, but we enjoy putting Radha and Krishna in the center, in that exclusivity. Then we are truly happy. Because as long as we don't awaken our true eternal identity, or Svarup, we will never be satisfied. That is not possible. Do you think you can be satisfied with this body? Do you truly think that? Do you think that this temporary identity will give you entire satisfaction? More than your eternal identity with Radha and Krishna? Do you think it is better to be a human being of this world than to be a gopa, or a gopi, or a cow, a flower, or a flute, or a chair? Do you think there's more value in that? No. So that's why we should deeply meditate on this and realize how special is our eternity. Actually, if you will see yourself in the mirror, who you truly are, you will faint. You could not imagine how beautiful you are, how special you are. Because we were talking about that in the previous class. Because actually, your identity is a special need. necessity of Radha and Krishna. You express that need, you fulfill that need that they have. And the personality, the feeling that you personify, fulfills a special need for Radha and Krishna and their associates. And that's why they want you to be with them. Because although we are very small, we fulfill a special need to Radha and Krishna that nobody else can fulfill. Nobody. You're completely unique, and the desire that Radha and Krishna have for you is completely unique. That is why our eternity is the best for us. The Acharyas, they explain that we can actually, you could try to imagine who you are for eternity, but even to your deepest imagination, it will never come close to the true value of what you are in eternity. It will be impossible to imagine because a material mind cannot conceive of such a perfection in us in connection to Radha and Krishna. It is impossible. So that's why the true satisfaction is the awakening of our true identity. We will never be satisfied with this identity. We will always be frustrated. There will always be limitations. And the beauty of devotional service is not that we reject this identity, but we engage it. We just don't identify with it. We don't identify with the hats that we're wearing with these different identities, but we engage it in the service of Krishna. And then that identity has purpose, has value. And we will be satisfied in this identity. Just like Krishna says, it's like if you fill ornaments on a dead body, what is the value of these ornaments? That's true. It has value when the person is alive. So everything we do in this life has value as long as it is connected with Krishna. Otherwise, it's like Prabhupada said, if you don't put one before the zero, what is the value of all the zeros? So, yes, we have to accept our eternity. We have to accept our reality. And then, when we accept that in our heart, everything will change. And we will become so deep, so serious. And we will actually experience real taste in Krishna consciousness. And Krishna will reveal himself in our life. Because we will make him feel that we want to be with him. It is for us the most special thing, to be with him. And then that exclusivity will make Krishna want to reveal himself to us. And then he will make us feel how much he loves us, and he will make us gradually realize in our heart who we are in eternity in connection with him. So I just wanted also to speak a little bit about that. But since we're glorifying Srimati Radharani today, let me continue the glorification. We were speaking yesterday about the different symbols on her feet, how we could meditate on these, and now there were special aspects of her mercy. And we spoke also about the 36th chapter of Krishna book, how Prabhupada describes the footprints of Krishna after he left Rasa dance. Okay, so yes. So we'll continue. So Srila Prabhupada, he writes in the 36th chapter that the gopis, they began to follow the footprints of Krishna, but since Krishna had left and they were trying to find him, as they followed his footprints, suddenly they saw another set of footprints beside them. And at that time they became very sorrowful because they realized Krishna's favorite Saki, none other than Srimati Radharani, she was with him. So the gopis, they said, "Dear friends, just see. Whose are these other footprints? They are beside the footprints of the son of Maharaj Nanda. It is certainly Krishna passing through, resting his hand on some other gopi, exactly as an elephant walks side by side with his beloved mate. We must therefore understand that this particular gopi served Krishna with greater affectionate love than ourselves." And here we're being introduced to that special gopi who left with Krishna during the Rasa, and who is none other than Srimati Radharani. So, since we're speaking about her feet, there are not only her symbols, but what is another distinguishing feature of her feet that is very important?
Color.
The color, yes. What else?
The lark.
The lac, exactly. So why is that lac so special?
Because it leaves the color red everywhere.
Yes, but you know, just like Krishna is the ornament of all ornaments, Radharani also is the ornament of all ornaments. What to speak about her feet? So that's why is the red lac put on her feet is to increase the beauty of her feet. Radharani's soles, the soles of her feet are already reddish, but when the lac is put on her feet, it increases the quality, the beauty of Radharani's feet. And in that, then the lac is glorious. So I have a special pastime that I'd like to share with you. So one time, while she was in the forest of Kamyavan, she was resting in a kunj. And at that time, she noticed that the beautiful red lac on the soles of her feet had been worn away because she has been dancing with Krishna. And then she called her gopi friends, and they came and they painted more lac on their feet again. But then Srimati Radharani, she suddenly realized that she was late for a rendezvous with Krishna. So she jumped up, and on her way out of that kunj, she walked over some stones, but with the freshly painted red lac on her feet. And as a result of that, the stones, they turned reddish due to the red lac on her feet. And to this very day, these stones are still there in Vrindavan. And they have a special name. They are called Chitra Vichitra Shilas. So Chitra means painted, and Vichitra means with footmarks. So such in Braj there are such special like deities or ornaments that are still present today. We can still have darshan of these stones. So the pilgrims, they travel to Kamyavan. And for those of you who have been to Kamyavan, it's far from Vrindavan. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours away, by taxi. And they go there just to see and worship these sacred Chitra Vichitra Shilas. So why are they worshipable? Because the red lac on Shri Radha's feet is worshipable. And because it touched that stone, then that stone has become sacred. So Shri Raghunath Das Goswami prays in Braj Bilastava in verse 14. It's so beautiful. He refers to this particular fact of the red lac that is on Shri Radha's lotus feet. He says, O Queen of Vrindavan, ever since Rupa Manjari has filled my eyes with light, I have yearned to see the red lac decorating your lotus feet. This is a very famous verse. And that's why following in his footsteps, we should yearn one day to see and serve the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. And also, again, in the Radharasa Sunanidhi, we hear Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur. He takes shelter of Shri Radha's lotus feet in another famous verse, and he writes, O Supreme Goddess of the Vrindavan forest, your lotus feet are brimming full of flowing rasa, extracting the essential honey of full-blown love nectar. Holding such feet to his chest, Madhurupa Krishna, the Lord of all sweetness, extinguishes the burning fever of Cupid. Supremely cooling, I now take shelter of them as well. This is the beauty of the glorifications of the acharyas, because through that glorification we can get a glimpse of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Okay. So we speak about her lotus feet, but we know that her lotus feet are barely visible actually. Because Radharani, she's often described as the most chaste of all women. And that's why she keeps her lotus feet hidden from view. They're very sacred. And regarding her chastity, that is one of her divine qualities, in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 31, Srila Prabhupada writes, Arundhati, which is another name for, Arundhati, who is known as the most chaste lady in the universe, she desires to learn the standard of chastity from Srimati Radharani. You remember that past time where Srimati, we can maybe share it another day, where Srimati Radharani, Krishna was really sick, and the only remedy to cure him was water that a chaste lady will carry from a pot with a thousands holes, and then only Srimati Radharani was able to carry that water. Kutila tried, Jatila tried, Chandravali, so many other gopis, but at the end only Srimati Radharani was able, because she was the most chaste of all. So that's why we see in all the temples around the world that Srimati Radharani's lotus feet are hidden. But due to her special mercy, traditionally, once a year, on the day of, sorry? Gopashtami. Yes.
Radhashtami also.
Radhashtami also, yes, that's right, twice a year. She's so merciful.
We have Gopashtami darshan right
It's the
here.
same picture. You can see it.
Oh, yes, yes, that's true. Beautiful.
And upstairs also, Radha Shamsundar also. Gopashtami
They are also dressed like that
Gopashtami darshan.
in Gopashtami. So, yes, very special. Gopashtami and Radhashtami, we have the very great fortune to have darshan of her special lotus feet. So, Gopashtami, it's the day when Krishna takes charge of the cows. And Radharani, she dresses as a cowherd boy. And then at that time, all around the world, her lotus feet are revealed. So there's a wonderful pastime I'd like to share it again because it includes Subalsaka. And as you know, I love Subalsaka. He's my greatest hero. And so on that day, it was big news in Vrindavan because 5,000 years ago, when Krishna became old enough to start taking care of the cows and the calves, then Nanda Maharaj had to make some arrangements, but it was a difficult time because Krishna had to go out of the village. Because with the calves, he was staying in the surrounding of Nandagram, but taking care of the cows, he had to go out of Nandagram for the whole day. So it was a very painful moment for Mother Yashoda. So because it was Krishna's first time getting the cows out, there was a huge festival, and all the joyful residents of Vrindavan, they gathered and waving goodbye to Krishna, but at the same time there were tears in their eyes because Krishna was leaving and they could not bear for one moment to be separated from him, even just one moment. But still, they were happy. Why? Because Krishna was happy. You know, because at that time Krishna could go out, play with his friends, but also later on meet the gopis. So, but who was the most happy at that time of all?
And Krishna's going out to forest, you mean?
Yes, who was the most happy?
Gopas.
Cows and gopas.
Yes, the cows. Because they have their own rasa with Krishna, and finally they get to be with him all day long. That's why it's a very special moment for the cows also. And the sakas, you know, they could play all day with him. So it's beautiful because we can see the cows, they spend most time with Krishna. They don't have to hide it also. It's not a secret. Example, the gopis, all the time they have to hide their love for Krishna. The cows, they don't need to. And the whole day they can, you know, glorify that they'll be with Krishna for the whole day. So, but just imagine at that time, the cows, they were so, just close your eyes for a sec. Just close your eyes. I have something beautiful to share with you. So imagine the cows, they were so happy that milk flowed freely from the udders of the mother cows, just like rain pouring down. So just imagine a downpour of rain, and that's how much milk there was flowing onto the ground. Raj is so special. So as a result, there were many bottles of milk everywhere. And
Brahma Samhita, it says that the cows give oceans of milk. Right, the last verse. They emanate oceans of transcendental milk.
Just for those who maybe might not have heard. So Acharya Nishta was saying, it's the last verse, is that
Which
it?
verse is it?
From that one.
I'll read the translation.
Yes, please.
You can translate what I said.
Okay, so Acharya Nishta is just saying he remembers a verse. They're looking into it right now. It's a verse in Brahma Samhita where Brahma, he reveals that the cows, they're giving milk so much that it's like an ocean of milk. So we're waiting now for the translation.
Numerous transcendental cows emit transcendental oceans.
So there are transcendental cows, Kamadenu, and then they're like, you know, it is expressed also that the cows, the Kamadenu cows, the Suravi cows, they fulfill all desires, just like there are wish fulfilling trees. There are wish fulfilling cows also in Vrindavan.
You want to read it?
Yeah, I can read it.
Right there, 56.
Okay, thank you. I don't see much. Let me put more light. Okay, are you ready for this drop of nectar? Thank you, Acharnishta. I worship that transcendental seed known as Shvetadvip, whereas loving consorts the Lakshmis in their unalloyed spiritual essence practice the amorous service of the Supreme Lord Krishna as their only lover, where every tree is a transcendental purpose tree, where the soil is the purpose gem, all water is nectar, every word is a song, every gate is a dance, the flute is the favorite attendant, effulgence is full of transcendental bliss, and the supreme spiritual entities are all enjoyable and tasty. All enjoyable and tasty. That's beautiful. Where numberless milk cows always emit transcendental oceans of milk, where there is eternal existence of transcendental time, who is ever present and without past or future, and hence is not subject to the quality of passing away, even for the space of half a moment. That realm is known as Goloka only to a very few self-realized souls in this world. Jai Brahma. Jai Brahma Samhita ki. So I'm sorry, I misjudged actually. It's not puddles of milk, it's oceans of milk. Oh. Too much ecstasy here. Is it still recording?
I think it is.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that went live.
That went live.
Yeah.
That's recorded. Thank you. So, okay, so on that same day, so like I told you, because Subal is there, I really appreciate that pastime. So on that same day, Srimati Radharani and her Gopi friends, they were walking from village to village, selling milk products. And as they approached the pasturing grounds, they saw that the ground was full of milk puddles, and they had no choice. They had to lift their skirts slightly so that they wouldn't get wet. And in doing so, Srimati Radharani and her Gopi friends, they slightly revealed their lotus feet. What a darshan at that time. So later that afternoon, in the pasturing grounds, Krishna he suddenly started crying. And his dear most friend, his most intimate friend, Subal, he asked, Krishna, why are you crying? And Krishna replied, because I miss my Radha. I miss my Radha. And Subal thought for a moment and he said, I have a plan, my dear Kana. So immediately he set off for Javat, the place where Radharani lives with her in-laws, including her so-called husband, Abhimanyu. So Subal, we know that he looks exactly like Radharani. I described why. What makes it that Subal Sakai looks exactly like Srimati Radharani?
He's a cousin.
No. He's not cousin.
No.
Sridham Sakai is the brother, no, Subal Sakai. When we were, we were in Amba, do you know who is Subal Sakai's sister? We went to Ambika Kalna. It's the village of Gauridas Pandit. Gauridas Pandit is Subal Saka in the Gaura Lila. And Ambika Kalna is this village, and the deities of Gaurnitai, that, the special pastime with Gauridas Pandit, they came out and then the deities became Gaurnitai like that. So we were speaking with the Pujari, and he revealed to us who is Subal Saka's sister?
Chandravali is there?
Chandravali. He told us that Chandravali, Srimati Radharani's greatest competitor, is Subal Saka's sister. And I was completely like, wow, blown away. I couldn't believe that's Chandravali. So, yes, Subal, not because he's the cousin, but actually, Subal is a particular personality, very special. And it is described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that Subal Saka is an expansion of Radharani's heart. Subal Saka and Rupa Manjari, they're like two twins. Both of them are expansions of Srimati Radharani's heart. So that's why he looks like her, just like Rupa Manjari also. But Subal is Srimati Radharani in masculine form. He has the same feet, the same hands, the same eyes that is in the body of a young boy. So, yes. So when he arrived at Javat, he knocked on the door of the palace because he had a plan. He told Krishna, don't worry, I have a whole plan. So he knocked on the door. Who answered the door? When Subal knocked on the door of the palace, who answered? Jatila. So Jatila, she's Radharani's mother-in-law, and she's always an obstacle to Radha and Krishna's meetings. So she's always suspicious that something is going on. So she asked, Subal, what are you doing here? And with tears in his eyes, Subal said, I lost one of my calves. I'm looking for him everywhere. I just can't find him. Is he here somewhere? And Jatila, she was seeing his distress. She replied, I don't know. Maybe he wandered into this area. You can look around. So as soon as Jatila, she went back to her house duties, Subal, he immediately went straight to Radharani's quarters. And somehow, he was able to slip inside. So, surprised to see Subal Radharani, she said that, Subal, what are you doing here? And Subal then he passed Krishna's message to Radharani. Krishna is missing you more than his own life. He wants to see you. Please do something. And hearing this, Radharani, she replied, yes, I am thinking of Krishna all day. Subal, can you help us meet? And Subal, he smiled and he said, yes, Radhika, I have a plan. So that plan is you put on my cowherd clothes and walk calmly out the door to the fields where Krishna is. It's as simple as that because we look so similar. Jatila will be fooled. I'll put on your dress and stay here in this room all day long and then you go in my stead. So they exchanged clothes and Radharani got dressed in Subal Saka's cowherd attire like we see in this picture. She's dressed as Subal, no there? Is she dressed? Or is that
she's Gopashtami.
She's Gopashtami, so she's dressed as Subal, as a Gopa. Yeah. So because it represents that Milan, Subala Milan, that pastime actually. Okay, so yeah, because only Subal Saka can exchange clothes with her so that she can become a Gopa. Okay, so they exchange clothes. Then she walks out, and immediately she met Jatila and said, "Jatila, through the window, I saw my calf just outside, so I will take him now, and I'll be on my way." And then she spoke in Subal's voice, and Jatila, she replied, "All right, young man, you go now, you go, because Subal, Krishna's most intimate friend, something is going on. She didn't want him to wander so much in the palace." So meanwhile, Subal, dressed in Radharani's clothes, he sat in the room and he just waited. And Radharani, she decides to test Krishna. So, but writing about this pastime, first I wanted to say that. Raghunath Das Goswami says that Radharani, she had invested her own form in Subal. And we know because he's an expansion of her heart, that's why also she has invested her form. And, Subal Saka is an expansion of Srimati Radharani that is accompanying Krishna in his separation from Srimati Radharani. That's why he's Krishna's most intimate friend. So as he sat there, no one questioned anything. This is Yogamaya. But they're fooled because Subali looks so much like Radharani. She invested all of her beauty in him, especially when he's dressed in the clothes of Radharani. So when Radharani dressed as Subal, she reached the cowherd boy and she decided to test Krishna. So she approached him, she spoke again. But in Subal's voice this time, she says, "My dear Krishna, I didn't manage to bring Radha back to you. I'm so sorry. But don't worry, I met Chandravali on the way. And she said she'd be happy to meet you today." Remember, Chandravali, she's Radharani's chief competitor. So Krishna replied, "Subal, I will never go to see Chandravali. I just want my Radha. Nothing can compare to Radha." So at that moment, Radharani, she took off her cowherd boy's turban and she said, "My beloved Krishna, here I am." And then they embrace and they spend the afternoon and the evening together. And meanwhile, the real Subal, still dressed as Radharani, he had to wait until the evening to return to Javat with the cowherd boys. So very special pastime, and in honor of this pastime, Angopastami, in all the Radha Krishna temples of the world, the pujaris, they dress Radha as Subal. And then they slightly cover her lotus feet, uncover her lotus feet. So that's why we are very thankful for this special pastime to happen because of that. Every year, once on that particular day, we get to have the darshan of Radharani's lotus feet. So, okay, I'll just finish with one verse, okay, before we... Okay, just one verse, okay? What, two verses on the Radharani's lotus feet. So this is from Raghunadas Goswami Vilapa Kusumanjali. It's in Sataka 9. So it's in text 24. May I pass the moments of my life in the land of Vrindavan, always meditating on the beauty of Shri Radha's lotus feet, which are decorated with sweetly tinkling jeweled ankle bells. And he says, I pray that Shri Radha's lotus feet, which are decorated with sweetly tinkling ankle bells and are filled with limitless beauty, delicate softness, sweet fragrance, a flood of transcendental splendor, and a host of other transcendental virtues may one day appear before me. May my mind chant the glories of Shri Radha's beautiful lotus feet, which are golden above the reddish soles, and which steal away the heart of Lord Hari with their sweet transcendental splendor. Everyone, please meditate on Krishna's flute. This is verse 93 then. It is now completely silenced, speaking about Krishna's flute. It is now completely silenced by the tinkling jeweled ankle bells on Radha's feet. All its hissing is now useless. Now it is simply an object of laughter for all of Shri Radha's friends. This to show you the sweetness of Srimati Radharani's ankle bells. So we'll finish here. Are there any questions or comments before we finish?
Can you say the last words one more time?
Okay. I'll share the verse again. Everyone, please meditate on Krishna's flute. It is now completely silenced by the tinkling jeweled ankle bells on Radha's feet. All its hissing is now useless. Now it is simply an object of laughter for all of Shri Radha's friends. The lotus feet of Srimati Radharani ki.
Jai.
So any questions or comments before we finish? Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, how can somebody so contaminated and so fallen actually practically take shelter of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet in daily life?
Well, Radharani is most merciful. We were saying yesterday that Krishna is justice and Srimati Radharani is mercy. What made Krishna's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forget the qualification of the living entities? It is the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So we should not, we should not minimize the mercy of Srimati Radharani. What is it for Srimati Radharani? To awaken a conditioned soul to its eternal reality. I mean, she's Swarupa Shakti. I mean, Durga Devi, this material energy, this Mahamaya is like the shadow of Srimati Radharani, controls all the conditioned souls. So what is it for Srimati Radharani to liberate one single living entity? So actually, the fact that we are fallen is not a disqualification for us. Our qualification is the desire to take shelter of our lotus feet. We need to have faith in that, to have faith in her mercy. But we, just like Prabhupada was saying on Radhastami in London, September 5th, 1973, so we want to approach Srimati Radharani, but for us, we approach Srimati Radharani through Srila Prabhupada, because he's intimately connected with her, and that is why we can approach Srimati Radharani through the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, which is always. But she's very merciful. But if under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada we approach her sincerely, then she will definitely be merciful towards us. Yes, she is very merciful. Because she has that special desire to bring all living entities to Vrindavan so that they can serve Krishna, so that they can be part of their pastimes. So that is why she is merciful, because she has that special desire to increase the number of associates in their pastimes. And for that she makes all arrangements. And that has come for us in the form of Srila Prabhupada. So although like Maharaj was saying, is Nityananda Avesh, Nityananda is receiving his mercy also from Srimati Radharani. So Yes, no, it's to be fallen is not a disqualification. It is a greatest qualification because we have no other hope than the shelter of Srila Prabhupada and Srimati Radharani. So that is why being fallen is good for us. It makes us feel very small and insignificant. And in that minuteness, then we feel the need to take sincere shelter of their lotus feet. But it is okay to approach Srimati Radharani. It is, yes, she wants that. Just like Prabhupada was saying, you just have to approach her. You take a flower, you give it to her so that she can give it to Krishna. But it's, yes, at the same time, it should always be done under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. For us, because Srila Prabhupada is our connection to Radha and Krishna, is our connection to Braj. He is that special Brajvasi that is connecting us to Goloka Vrindavan. But if you do it in that way, then definitely, surely you will receive her mercy. It is just a question of time, just like Prabhupada said. It's just a question of time. Yes. No, Radharani is very merciful. Definitely. Does that answer your question? Yes? That's okay?
That's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. Janitai Gaura Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.